Hey guys, TommyBryson here, and this video is all about the things that you actually need to go ahead and buy in your 20s. 6 to be exact. However though, I've never been a fan of basically saying, hey, I'm gonna use my 20s, that whole decade, over 350 million seconds, I'm gonna use that to, you know what, to travel, to figure things out, to just lay low. No, I wanna use my 20s to build a solid foundation like a house, right? If a house has a solid foundation, it lasts a very long time. The same thing with your 20s. If you put in the work in your 20s, you figure things out, you get started the correct way, guess what? Your 30s are going to be amazing. And by the way, if you are in your 30s watching this video, the idea is you gotta kind of like play catch up with things you haven't actually caught up to just yet. That's the whole concept right here. Now, if you guys are new here, I post videos every single day, so you should also subscribe and hit the bell to get notified. And on top of that, also destroy the like button, okay? It helps a lot with the algorithm, so thank you guys so much, okay? Now, the very first thing is, guys, you wanna go out there and you want to invest in a very good career. I always hear this all the time. Tommy, I have a minimum wage job, but I wanna go ahead and invest in the stock market for the long term. And by the way, I'm always going to be a part of the LTT team, right? Basically, long-term team. I love long-term investing. However, if you have a minimum wage job and you put money in the stock market, in 10, 20 years, you might have some money in there, but guess what? You're still going to be working a minimum wage job. So my idea, my concept is always this, okay? You're always going to get a better return on your money by grabbing your money and investing it, for example, into a career. You have careers like, for example, licenses, like, you know, like the real estate license might cost, for example, like $500 to $1,000. You have, for example, trade jobs that make a lot of money also. And you also have full-blown careers in college, associates, bachelors, masters, and so on, okay? But the goal is, if you don't know what to do, you wanna go to laborstatistics.gov, or you wanna go on Google, you wanna type in best licenses jobs, best trade jobs, best college jobs, all that stuff, and find which one is going to work best for you. And one thing I figured out is basically the job you pick, the career you pick, make sure it's not just about this, about money. Make sure you actually enjoy it, you're actually good at it, and it's also obviously gonna pay you money. But if you don't like it, you'll be miserable. If you're not good at it, it'll just be very challenging and most likely very frustrating. If it doesn't pay you money, then in reality, it's probably more like a hobby than anything else, okay? So just make sure you find those 3 things right there. And you know, if you put in, for example, $20,000, $30,000 into a career, and now you can make, for example, $40,000, $50,000, or $70K every single year, well, guess what? That's a lot better than putting in, for example, 10, 20% of your money every single month in the stock market, but then you're still making minimum wage, okay? That's not the idea that I actually have and I actually like, honestly. So investing into a very good career is going to be a very good idea. And by the way, for all of you guys that don't know, I graduated as an accountant, okay? So accountant is also a pretty good career. And no, accounting is not about math, okay? So don't believe the hype when you hear that, okay? All the math usually is done in a calculator or, for example, software, all right? So don't worry about that aspect right there. Now, number 2 is you need to invest into a solid, reliable, good, used vehicle. Now, honestly, I've been on Uber, okay, for the past almost 15 days. Everywhere I had to go on Uber because basically I moved countries, okay? I live on an island now. And the idea is that basically in this island, if you don't have a car, you can't go anywhere. So it's Uber, 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 Uber. Now, why do I say this? Because basically, I rode a lot of Ubers, and a lot of them had new cars and also used cars. But most of them had, for example, a car payment. And the average car payment is somewhere between $300 to $500 every single month. That is a lot of money. The goal is, hey, you want to go out there and you want to buy a used, reliable car. So I went out there. I didn't buy a new car, although my car, when it first came out, it was worth around $23,000 to $34,000. But no, I went ahead, I paid cash for a used vehicle. It was a 2014. Video coming soon. That's why I'm kind of leaving parts out here. But I bought the car, I paid cash for it. Guess what I don't have? I don't have a car payment. And guess what? I still get to point B at the same time as the guy with the new car. It just does not make sense, okay? You want to buy a new car when you can basically burn cash, because if you buy a new car, by the end of this year, it'll be worth like 10, 20% less. The end of 5 years, it'd be worth, for example, like 50% to 60% less than its actually MSRP value, okay? Do you want to do that? The answer is most likely no. And by the way, my car, I plan to have it for the next like 5 to 10 years, potentially. That right there is the goal. So buying a used, reliable car for cash usually is going to be the best option. Now, for you guys, for example, if you don't have, for example, a lot of money and all that stuff, the answer is just buy a car for like $1,000 to $5,000. Save up that money, you buy a little hoopty, you save up money for a better car basically, and then you basically buy that car. But the idea is, do not go into crazy debt buying these consumer items that you basically don't need. It's not a good idea, okay? Now, number 3, guys, is going to be you need to start investing, for example, in the stock market, right? So now if you're debt-free, if you have a used, reliable car, but you also have a career, well, now you can invest, for example, automatically what I do is I invest between 10 to 20% of my income. That's always my goal, okay? Now, you can do that with a 401k plan with your employer, or for example, with a Roth IRA. You can open that by yourself if you want, okay? Once you have a job and so on. But that's the whole concept. That's the whole idea. Now tell me, what do you invest into exactly? Me personally, I'm all long-term team all the way. So what I do is basically I invest into index funds, okay? I try to track the market. I'm not trying to beat the market, because basically I'm not gonna stay here and I'm not gonna read financial statements for up to 4 to 8 hours every single day trying to pick stocks. So what I do is I invest into indexes, and so should you. So if you want to invest the way I invest, I have a link down below to M1 Finance. When you click it, it shows you exactly what I invest my money into. And yes, you can open up a Roth IRA with M1 Finance. And yes, to those ETFs you'll see over there, ETFs, exchange traded funds, you can actually get those same ETFs in index fund format for your 401k with your employer. Just ask them about it, okay? They should help you out with everything. Or just call Vanguard, they're a lot better. But I recommend everyone automatically invest anywhere from 10 to 20% of your income. That way, you don't gotta think about it, which is like the best thing when it comes to investing, okay? Now, number 4, guys, is going to be buying your first home. Now, pause here, okay? Because it's kind of crazy here. But everyone thinks that basically if you're 25 and below and you don't own a home, you're a loser. Or if you're like 29 and below, you're like a loser, right? If you don't own a home or a property or like crazy real estate or like multiple real estates or whatever, right? The idea is no, you don't need to buy a house so fast. In reality, yes, real estate is cool. Buying your first property is cool, but usually it's expensive. It ties you down to one location, and it also has ongoing expenses, okay? It's not really that simple, okay? So my idea is, yes, you need to buy a property, but buy a property when it makes sense to you and when you actually need one. Now back here, guys, okay, I think it's right here. This guy right here in the background is blurry, but that's Charlie Munger, or like the other one right here is Charlie Munger. And he's like basically Warren Buffett's best friend, right? His partner in crime, like forever. And the idea is, he says all the time, hey, you want to buy real estate when you need real estate, when you're actually ready to go ahead and buy your first home. Now, me personally, the formula I follow is this, okay? You save up between 10 to 20% down for a down payment, okay? You do 20%, you avoid PMI, private mortgage insurance. On top of that, the property you buy on a 15-year mortgage. That way, you're done a lot faster. You save money on interest also. But lastly, also, you got to make sure the house you buy does not cost you more than 33% of your monthly income. So that way, basically, if I lose my job, I can still basically get another job and pay my mortgage without worrying about it. That's the whole concept right there behind, hey, I want to make sure I get a 15-year mortgage, only, for example, 33% of my monthly income. On top of that, I'm putting down 10, 20%. That way, I can basically either avoid mortgage insurance, private mortgage insurance, or work towards avoiding it even faster. Because by the way, the only way to avoid PMI is by putting down at least a minimum down payment of 20%. But 10% is going to be fine also. But you want to buy a property you can actually afford. And yes, if you want to, you could house hack the property. Where basically, hey, you bought this property with the same rules here. you rent out a few rooms, and now these people are also helping you basically pay off this property even faster. And by the way, I recommend you throw extra money towards the property. That way, you're done with it even faster and faster and faster. That's the goal right there. Now, number 5, guys, is going to be all about the unknowns, okay? For example, health insurance. Sucks, but it costs money. It's expensive also. Also, car insurance, a good policy. Compare policies always. And lastly, also life insurance. Yes, no one's talking about that, but it's also important even if you're just in your 20s, okay? You never know what's gonna happen here. Now, the whole concept is, as far as health insurance, I would probably get, if you don't have a history of being crazy sick and medical issues in your family, all that stuff, you could probably get, by the way, talk to a doctor about this, obviously, but you could probably get, for example, a high deductible health plan. Meaning, for example, you get to save a lot of money on premiums, but if you do get sick, you have to pay money out of pocket. But tell me, where's that money gonna come from? Well, in reality, you can actually open up, for example, an HSA account, which basically means health savings account, which basically means, hey, you could actually grab money, invest it into that account tax-free, and that way, if you do get sick, you grab that money from that investment account basically and use it for your medical bills without having to worry about tax. But this way, you get to save a lot of money when it comes to premiums. However, if you do have health issues in your family, the idea is probably getting a normal insurance plan might be best for you, okay? That's the concept. As far as, for example, life insurance, the idea is, well, get term life insurance. That way you save more money, and that way you only need it for like 10, 20, 30 years. Because in reality, like 20 years of long-term investing, by that point, you will not need life insurance, okay? And the idea is, how much money do I actually get in my policy, Tommy? Anywhere from 10 to 15 times your annual income is going to usually be more than enough, okay? That's the concept right there. And as far as, for example, your car insurance, just make sure it does not have a bunch of different things included that you're not actually going to be using, okay? Some life insurance policies include a whole bunch of add-ons that you actually don't need, okay? So just verify the policy and make sure you actually need what it actually has, and that could potentially save you a lot of money also. Now, lastly, guys, number 6 is not going to be something that you actually buy, but something you actually work towards. And that's basically called patience, right? You need to have patience when it comes to this entire game, especially in your 20s. I know Instagram, social media, TikTok, YouTube, all this stuff, it's kind of like crazy, okay? People have homes at age 19, they have crazy cars at age 20, they're financially free by age like 5 or whatever it is, but the answer is just be patient, okay? If you're gonna buy a car, be patient. Save up for it. If you want to invest, do long-term investing, be patient. You're gonna buy a home, be patient. Save up for the down payment, buy the correct way, all these things. And if right now, for example, is like, for example, a seller's market, just wait a while. Save up the money for the down payment. That way, when the time does come, you have that money there, okay? Your 20s is supposed to be for building a foundation, but most people out there, what do? Okay, this is not what I want for you. What do? They go to school, they get $30,000 in student loan debt, they buy a car, another $20,000, $30,000 in debt also, they get credit cards like crazy, another like $6,000 on average per household, and then they basically just do everything kind of like out of order, right? And they have a bunch of monthly payments, they don't have an emergency fund, and if things do go wrong, what happens is basically they go bankrupt. There's a lot of bankruptcies that are going on out there, okay? And that's not what I want for you. So the goal is, take it step by step, be patient. If you ain't got the money right now, just save up for whatever you actually want to buy, okay? That's the goal. That's the idea. I'll see you guys next time. Thanks for watching. And if this video helped, guys, comment down below. Let me know. If you want me to make a specific video, guys, well, comment down below. Also, let me know. And on top of that, as always, like, subscribe, hit the bell so you're notified. And on top of that, also, if you want to DM me right here on Instagram at TommyBryson. Or, for example, if you actually want to call me one-on-one, join me on my third channel, link down below. It's called Ask TommyBryson, where I take calls every single day for 30 minutes, and that way you can talk to me one-on-one for free. Okay, guys? I'll see you guys tomorrow. Thanks for watching. Another video here. Click my face right here. And as always, peace.